Alright, hopefully I fixed my audio, but today I wanted to do a very brief thing, kind of off topic, but I'll try to I'll try to make it on topic. So I did get a KVM, which is working pretty nice. I'll link that in this video in case you're looking for one that's just two computer. I've been testing it for stuff like latency and putting my wireless adapter in a different place and having a 4K 60 display on it, and it seems to work pretty well. I haven't noticed. It's kind of like it was just plugged right into my computer, so that's really nice. I did get my printer working. I kind of wanted to make a video on my printer too, but I don't have enough to talk about it yet. But it's become kind of a hobby of mine to print in increasingly hostile environments, and Bazite is, besides Gen 2, is probably the hardest one I've done because you need to use RPMOS tree to get it working. And I know I'm not supposed to do that, but for printer drivers, they said it makes sense to use RPMOS tree because what the fuck else are you supposed to do? You can't really run it in a container. However, I do need to report that to the UDev or UBlue developers because their goal is to have every printer driver pre-installed, so that way you don't need to layer any packages. But I need Brother HLL 2300D, so I need BR Laser, which is like a driver for older Brother printers. I could just get a new one that's network or whatever, but I don't have the money right now. And I don't mind this printer because it prints accurately and it's good enough for shipping labels, which is really all I use it for, is like forms and shit. Uh, but anyways, that's a different topic. That's just what's been going on. I did email the Risk 5 guys today too to see if they're gonna send me a tracking label because I gave them the whole working week to ship it and I never got an update. So I've just asked them what's going on, but I'm not expecting first class, shipping speed on what is basically a Chinese board. But today, though, since that's all again off topic, but I wanted to talk a bit about private servers because they're sort of an interesting subject. I mean, obviously, you've seen in my videos I'm playing a World of Warcraft private server, and I wanted to talk a bit about why I would do that instead of buying like the main game, like going out and playing classic or playing retail or whatever. And it comes down to when you're running software as a service, because I'm going to call it a live service game. That's kind of the trending word for it. But basically, these online MMOs are basically the epitome of software as a service, and they have the enshittification to match. That's why I don't play things like old school RuneScape because I just don't like the way that the developers are going. I kind of hate the game too, but whatever. So Blizzard, they've got a few issues with especially World of Warcraft, and as somebody that never really got to play it when I was younger because I had a freaking like Nvidia 2. I had the GeForce 2 with 64 megs of VRAM and I was like running Windows 95, So I wasn't able to play when I was younger, and by the time I eventually got the money to pay for the game, it wasn't until high school that somebody bought me a month of Mist of Pandaria but didn't actually buy me the expansion, so I just kind of leveled. But I only got to about 20 before I quit, and the reason why is because I found that the leveling experience in WoW is like really annoying. It's like, especially solo leveling, I hate doing it. So like on this private server I play on, people are a lot more friendly and they're willing to help you do shit so that it's not like a freaking slog, especially if you're a new player that doesn't know what they're doing quite yet. And why would you care? Why would you run a private server when the leveling experience in retail is so much more streamlined now? And that's kind of a difference between the old game and the new game, is that in the old game leveling was a lot of what you did, and then when you got to end game you raided, or you farmed for things. And in retail now, you've already seen videos on this. I'm not bringing up anything new, but it's really difficult to get into now as a new player, especially if you don't want to do like PvP, if you don't have a dedicated raid group, if you don't know what you're doing, There's not a lot of people that can help you. And so when you do find a new player in the game, it's like a miracle, oh my god, it's a new player. And I kind of don't want that experience. I don't want to do the solo leveling experience or the just spamming dungeons, you know. I want to actually like play the game and explore the game, you know. Cuz I never got to figure out this world, you know. I never got to see all the cool areas and stuff. So, especially on this server I play, and this is what I'm going to talk about now, is in Turtle WoW, they have a higher focus on questing. And what that means is quests will award experience and money for a lot longer than the other, like than in real classic, you know, in like real vanilla or real TBC or whatever. And you also get the benefit of custom content. Now, a lot of servers don't bother with that, except like Vanilla Plus or whatever. So I'm really enjoying like being able to play the game with a different really a different set of rules. You know what I mean? The class rebalancing, the new quests, the new areas, and all that is all really fun. Especially that you don't have to PvP flag all the time. That's also really nice. And being able to group up with the other faction, because people always ask me that. They're like, is that a horde sitting in Goldshire and not being attacked? You know? I was like, yeah, you can just kind of do whatever. So it's a direction of WoW that I really would have rather have been in the real game, you know, where I'm not stuck with whatever faction I'm in, and I don't have to roll a new character or pay $60 to change factions, or $25 or whatever it is now. And I don't like the real world trading economy. That's another thing that private servers do really well is like especially on this one, you're not allowed to pay for boosting. If you do like real money trading, you get banned. So that's a lot different from what retail is now, where especially with the WoW token, you end up dumping a ton of money into the game, and I just don't like doing that. So and of course, you know, I don't want to have to keep current with the latest expansion because I don't really play games super addictively, you know, and especially coming into it as a new player, I'm not seeing a way for me to get caught up and stay caught up, you know, because it's just this constant gear treadmill, and I hate games like that. I can't deal with my gear becoming obsolete in the next expansion. That's why in my Guild Wars 2 video I said I really didn't like the gear treadmill. I preferred just getting the gear I wanted and then farming legendaries if I really wanted to. But if you play vanilla, of course, there's not too much power creep. You know, even though they're adding more custom content and stuff, you're not chasing after gear long after you start raiding. You know, there's the pre-raid BIS, and then there's like best in slot, and then there's the raid best in slot. And it's pretty cool just to be able to like dick around in the world without the threat of losing your $30 game time being over your head, you know. So when we're talking about this in terms of software as a service, because obviously we have to relate this back to software, is when this game has such a horrible new player experience and you just wanna, you know, you just want to get in the game and play it, you can go play classic, except they killed off classic because they had to introduce classic everything, like classic kata, classic TBC, classic Wrath of the Lich King, and all that. I'm like, man, I just want to play the game, you know. And new players are having a lot of trouble getting into the game, so that's why I always ask around when I see new players sticking around. Is I say, "Oh, are you new to the server? Have you been playing WoW? Have you played WoW?" And a lot of them will say yes, but some people are actually saying, "No, I'm completely new to WoW, but the game kind of puts me off now." And I don't know how to get started, so I'm starting with a private server so I can learn how to play the game, you know. And that's I think that's really important, and a lot of people don't realize is when you have a game that's starting to like kill itself, you know, like we can relate this back to like Windows, you know, as Microsoft keeps shitting up their operating system, and now they're shitting up WoW because now they own Blizzard. So when you have this game that just keeps getting worse and worse, and then you see somebody else has cloned the game and made it better, I find that important, you know, especially for accessibility reasons, because a lot of people, especially in China, aren't allowed to play the game now, or they have to use a VPN to do it. And I don't really like being in a system like that where people are being, or where my access of the game can be revoked at any time for no reason. So like on this game, I can use a temp mail, and so it safeguards my privacy. I'm able to sign up with no strings attached, no real name, nothing, just a username and a password, which is very important, especially for people that want to. I mean, especially like you're on a server hosted in Russia. You don't want to have all your information out there, because they did just have a security breach recently, and all their shit got leaked. So I'm like, well, it's a good thing I didn't put any personal information in this game, you know. So but if you're playing the Blizzard version, you gotta have a BattleNet account. You gotta have a credit card hooked up to it, unless you're playing the trial for all eternity, which isn't really an option. And so as I get into the game, and I really, well, I'm sorry, just freaking hit my microphone there. I really don't want to play retail or classic, just because they messed it up so badly. And Season of Discovery didn't look super attractive to me. It seems like the server I'm playing does it a lot better than Blizzard's doing. So I'm like, well, what's the point? I want to get into the game. I want to try out this game that I never got to play when I was a kid, and I'm kind of stuck. But I find it important that as we try to move away from like bad software as a service, that you can find servers that actually give a shit, and they will try in their sorry, and they will put in their best effort to make a game that you actually want to play, which is something that the corporation may not want to do. And you just have to deal with this game getting progressively worse. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Is just, I think it's important that we have these, what are basically pirated versions of the game, because the people that make these put a lot more love and care into it than the company themselves and the company itself does. Is really annoying. And yeah, it's just, that's, I don't know what I'm gonna title this video yet. I could title it something like "Private Servers Are Important," or "I'm a new player and I can't get into WoW." I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I probably had a lot more to talk about. I just didn't really script this, so I'll leave it at that. I'll see you guys later.